Hello, and welcome to another EFT Business Spotlight, where we get to introduce to you practitioners from around the world doing fascinating things with EFT. And today we have the joy and the pleasure of introducing you to someone that we really know well, and that is Kathleen Weber. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
we're excited to have you. I want to introduce people a little bit to who you are, what you do, and we'll be able to go into more depth. But just for a little background, Kathleen's a former school counselor, but now she specializes in supporting educators that are experiencing burnout and overwhelm so that they can come back to the classroom really from a place of compassion and in a place that really that they're aligned with their higher purpose and excitement and just that excited part that we want for all of our kids to have. And so she's passionate about bringing EFT into schools, especially to support educators and the students. She's always loved helping others, and of course she's found EFT to be an amazing, gentle, and wonderfully effective way to do that. And that's why we're talking to you today, because you're really at the cutting edge of that integration, and we're excited to talk to you about that.
Great. I'm excited to share about that as well.
So, Kathleen, I always like to start with the question of how you found EFT. Everybody's got a really interesting journey of what led them here. So I'd love to hear more about that because I know a little bit, but not much about that, and our audience would love to know as well.
Sure. I really struggled with chronic Lyme disease for
Mm.
quite a while, and chronic Lyme disease is very layered, a lot of different symptoms, and I worked with a fabulous functional medicine doctor who helped me to work through a lot of the symptoms, but the one that I couldn't seem to get over that hump was with the chronic fatigue
Mm.
and, having a hard time lifting my head up some days or going to a store, meaning I need to take a nap afterwards. And so I just really didn't have the stamina to function normally during the day. And my doctor, fortunately, recommended that I speak with and meet with an energy healer. That's what he called her. And she used tapping and integrated that into her practice. And it didn't take me too long to start noticing some shifts with that.
Mm.
So just minor things that, well, minor to maybe other people, but was huge to me was being able to just stand to fold some laundry instead of having to sit down,
Mhm.
and gradually just feeling my energy coming back and being able to get back into school. It was just such a profound healing that I hadn't experienced with other methodologies, and just knew that I needed to learn more about these techniques.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's.
I did not know that about
Mhm.
you. That's fabulous.
And then when did you take the leap into, gee, I think this might help my students? Like what started that, and how did the early, like, kind of playing around with the technique evolve for you and the people that you worked with and the students you worked with?
Yeah, it was pretty early on that I thought I need to learn this for my students. And it was I would say a driving force of me wanting to get better. I mean, there were a lot of reasons why I wanted to feel better, but that was one of the main reasons because I knew I could help my students in a different way than I had before if I had these techniques in my toolbox. So, I feel like with EFT, the more I learn, the more I want to learn. I just find the techniques completely amazing. And knowing that they can be self applied, that was another big part of wanting to share with students because they need tools in their hands to be able to help themselves. And there's a lot of overwhelm, a lot of anxiety, a lot of just emotional dysregulation in schools with students, and just being able to help them in a way that that works, that's effective, and that they can use themselves. That I was really sold on that.
It's so important. We're hearing about social emotional learning. We're hearing about
Mm.
self-regulation, and they're not getting enough of that. And EFT does that so beautifully. But the burnout part, I'd like to hear also. So kids, middle school, I mean, all different ages need to be able to become self-aware, have ways to soothe themselves, and not move into all the stressors and overwhelms. But what about the teachers and the burnout? I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's rampant right now. And that is very concerning because people are leaving the field left and right.
Mhm.
And it's leaving our kids in the lurch.
Yeah.
And we need to have, high quality teachers in the classroom who are also grounded and regulated themselves, because when teachers are dysregulated, it makes it difficult to help students regulate. And we know that students need the co-regulation, especially the younger ones. But from experience, I can share with you that through my healing journey with chronic Lyme, um, as I healed some of those beliefs that I was holding, um, I learned, I guess, what happened ultimately. And this isn't something that I was working on exactly, because I always feel like I've been very compassionate with students. But as I worked on my own healing, I could show up differently for them. I was more compassionate. I was more grounded. I wasn't fazed by things that they would share with me. And I just felt like I could be more present with them. And so, knowing that about myself, knowing that that's how I could show up for my students, I want to share that with other staff. I want other educators to be able to walk into the building and feel grounded and feel like they do have something to offer and that they are enough. There are so many times I think educators right now are saying it just doesn't feel like enough, because there's so many kids who have so many significant needs, and our systems aren't quite, I guess, enabled to handle those levels of need. Um, and I think teachers and all educators carry that on their shoulders and just not feeling good enough. And I also think as educators, we often want to say yes and have a hard time with boundaries at times, to be able to say, you know what, that's not something I can do right now. There's a lot of pressure to just say yes all the time, to be the martyr, stay those late hours and work extra. And when you're burning that candle at both ends, there will be consequences to that. For me, I believe part of that was some of my health concerns, and not all of it, because Lyme is medical, but the stressors that came into play with that, I think, really impacted my health and my journey. So, if I can help to support educators and help them feel like they can walk into the building from a compassionate place with the kids and truly be there with joy in their hearts, that they want to be there, they want to help. That's a great educator.
Yeah, because we've all had educators that we didn't experience that way. And the ones that we did, boy, what a life difference. I mean, they made in my life.
Absolutely.
When they're able to
Absolutely.
be regulated, handle, hold a safe space, well regulated. And so you supporting the supporters of our kids is
Because I think any good teacher would want that for
Sure.
themselves and the kids that they help. So absolutely.
And the demands, as you said, are just,
Exacerbated by COVID
and everything. Yeah, boy, that
Right.
have been a teacher over these last few years,
right, not easy.
wow, I bow down to
No.
all teachers having made it through that transition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that having these tools, if educators have these tools in their hands, not only are they helping their students, but they also are helping themselves. We know that when we are using the tapping ourselves along with the kids, it's good for both. And what could be wrong with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would like to know where you're located and what format, because people do different things. Some people do circles and
how do you do
one-on-one sessions.
How do you help these teachers?
Tell us about your business.
Okay, so excuse me, I'm located in Marcellus, New York, which is a really tiny town outside of Syracuse, New York, and central area of the state. And I see clients via Zoom. So I have access, anyone can access my support. And I also do trainings online and in person. In fact, I just did a training in person last week and was very excited to share just an overview of EFT with some area school counselors.
Right.
So, Yeah, pretty much online, but I'm willing to drive. Like I love to travel, and I love to just get out and see people in person, whenever I can. But in terms of one-on-one sessions, those are via Zoom.
Right.
So would schools contact you or boards, or like how would, if you're going to be involved in the training or the education or the support of a school system, what
Mhm.
what might that look like for somebody that says, wow, I'd love to have you
Bring you
contact
in, yeah.
my faculty or my admin staff or whatever that is? What would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, really, anyone on the staff can reach out to me at any time. Typically in schools, there are committees that are involved in these types of trainings.
Mhm.
So anyone on a committee could reach out to me, and we would have, could have a free 15-minute conversation just to gauge what the needs are.
Mhm.
Right.
And so that way I can start to formulate a plan of working with the school district to make sure that I'm meeting what their needs are.
Great.
But then of course within the school, they're going to need to run that by the
Sure.
powers that be that make the decision, the district office,
Yeah,
the-
absolutely.
yeah.
I see you getting ready to be on lots of airplane to different places that are
I would
needing
love
you in
to.
school
Desperately
systems.
needed,
Desperately
desperately
needed,
needed.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So, where can people reach you? Give us your website address.
Sure. It's www.kathleenwebereft.com, and it's Weber with one B. So yeah, on my website, there's access to the services that I provide. People
Mhm.
can sign up for my community email list if they would like to do that. And I have a self-care guide for educators that you'll receive when you sign up for that.
Oh, great.
Fabulous.
And I also have an opportunity to sign up for that free consult right through my website.
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, and we really appreciate the work that you're doing out in the world.
Yeah, I
and
love
all that
following you and
do.
the work that you're doing is really exciting to me. So thank you.
And I want to thank both of you because I wouldn't be here doing this without both of you and your incredible support and training and mentoring and all of the above. Just all of it has been really incredible. So thank you.